Alright, welcome back to Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Lesson. I'm Classic. This is episode number 1701 and Doubleshot number 1595. I have two Marvel trades. One is basically a compendium, and basically a very small compendium, basically a lot of burst fights between these two characters. The other is the fourth volume of Kirby Music's Run for Avengers. Alright, first up it is Captain Marvel versus Rouge. The thing with this trade is a lot of the stuff published in this trade paperback I've already discussed. Like Avengers Assemble number 10, Miss Marvel Volume 3, issues 9 and 10, X-Men Legacy 260 and 270, issues 4 and 5, the current volume of Captain Marvel, and Marvel Super 11. I've already discussed all of these books already in other reviews. So, what is there to discuss in this one about this trade? How about let's talk about the X-Men issues. Yes, these X-Men issues mostly put like in the case of 200 and it's basically basically three X-Men issues they threw in here are from Kitty X-Men 158, 171, and 269. Mostly put these issues. Rouge joins the X-Men, and the X-Men gets her first because she's member of the Brotherhood. Though they will have a choice in the matter because basically X-Men's Rouge's desire to join X-Men is pure. And also help with some mental issues she's suffering through, where she's seeing Carol Danvers in her mind. Yep, and these affects these issues. At one point in the issue 269, which came out in the 90s based on the cover, yeah, the way this book is presented and stuff in here, first it's Marvel Superheroes number 11. This is actually volume 2, number 11. Yeah, the thing about this issue is it actually was the unpublished issue 25. This probably was intended to be the first appearance of Rouge. But then, of course, then you have Avengers A number 10, which of course is next actual appearance of, well, the character. This annual has been discussed thoroughly by a bunch of people, and it's by far, it's a really good annual, and here's the thing about it. The first few things published here are all written by Chris Claremont. Like, I would say, like, a lot of the stuff in here is written by Chris Claremont. Here's the thing about Chris Claremont here. Marvel Superheroes number 11, though he writes the first 20 pages of that issue. The Avengers Annual, the Candy X-Men issues, and that's it. Brian Reed does the Miss Marvel Volume 2 issues, X-Men Legacy, Crystal Cage, and the current volume of Miss Marvel, Miss Marvel Captain Marvel, which is written by the current writer, Kelly Thompson. First, let's have issue 158, where it mostly looks like we have a guest appearance by the Starjammers. Yes, the Starjammers. And the artwork in this issue is done by David Cockrum. I have heard this guy has passed away, and Bob Weddick. Yes. Yeah, focus on the Starjammers and their conversations with the X-Men. Let's up with Leandra. That's some minor here. Mm-hmm. And this issue here is kind of the first time that Rouge first meets the X-Men. And Mystique. This is kind of in a way Claremont dropping off Rouge in the X-Men book because he created the character, so why not have her do it? And then we have 171, which is the issue where they welcomed her to the X-Men because of stuff with Carol Danvers. And the first one she meets when she arrives to the Xavier Institute is Colossus. I mean, at first they don't like the fact she's here, but basically Xavier sees that Hermione's here. She's not here for evil intentions, so she basically joins anyways. And this also leads to sort of Carol Danvers become honorary of the X-Men. And then we have this. Basically, this came out like, this is basically sort of a split personality. This issue, I believe, was adapted for an episode of the X-Men animated show because this doesn't look very familiar to you. Like, a zombie Carol Danvers attacking Rouge? Yes. this is vaguely familiar. They actually did this for a whole episode of the X-Men. Now, yes, it's still by Chris Claremont. The artwork here is done by the awesome Jim Lee, the sole publisher of DC Comics right now. Yep. And, well, aside from the whole thing with that and, well, Miss Marvel, actually, I said the cover was. The story itself is mostly just Rogue kind of in the way working with Carol. And then the issue ends basically leading to the Extinction Agenda. With appearance by Magneto. Yes, awesomely jumped by Jim Lee. Yep, and that's all I'm going to talk about here because I've already talked about the rest of the stuff on this trade already thanks to various other reviews. I'm going to give the Uncanny X-Men issues all a 10 out of 10. They're all classic X-Men issues. And, well, they're that good. Fun fact about the Extinction Agenda issues for the issue 269. I believe that was the third to last issue that... let me take a look. I think it was the third to last issue of Chris Claremont's run for Kenny X-Men. Well, his first run, anyways. Actually, let's see, what was that? 269. Because no, he left at some certain point. Actually, I think it may have been 281. No, it was 280. I think that was its last issue. No, I thought that was. No, his last issue officially he did in this era was 279. So this is roughly 10 issues before he left the main X-Men book to do briefly the spin-off book before he officially left the X-Men books altogether. Yeah. Alright. Moving on to a different book, we have... Okay, get rid of that there. Thank you. Now, this book here does collect a good amount of issues here. We have Avengers Assemble, Volume 4. Yep. Now, this book contains Maximum Security, Dangerous Planet, Maximum Security, 1, 2, 3. Avengers Volume 3, 3544, and Avengers Assemble 2001. Art by Kurt Busiek. These are the artists for these issues. Excuse me. Jerry Ordway, Jeremy Jr., Steve Eptick, Alan Davis, Mama Garcia, Ivan Reyes, and Ian Church. I think Ivan Reyes. Did he do some stuff for DC? Yes, he did. Now, for this trade here, I am not going to be discussing the maximum security issues because I have already discussed these issues already. Thanks discussing the maximum security trade. Yep. And basically the 3 maximum security miniseries, Dangerous Planet 1 Shot, and Avengers 35. Not going to discuss these issues because I have, in fact, already technically talked about these issues already. I mean, the maximum security event is actually really good. It's a really interesting idea. And it was one of the last known Marvel crossovers that Marvel ever did. For several years because I think that Marvel was basically just phasing them out for several years before Bendis brought him back with House of M. Though you could say that Avengers Assemble kind of brought that back, but yeah. It's taking a bit to boot up here. Let's see. Now, this was, I think, out of all the crossover events I've done at Marvel, I think this was the only one Kurt Busiek ever did for Marvel. Come think of it, yeah, this is the only one he ever did. And I believe this was the first The first crossover to have a central miniseries with Marvel since Secret Wars 2. Yeah, I think that was the last official time they actually did this. Yeah, mostly put, basically, unintentionally, this event brought back Ego the Planet, the living planet. Yeah, that's mostly put what this event was. And the cover basically implied Ron accused of wisdom being villain. Yeah, the Avengers don't find until like the finale of the run. It basically it's mostly like U.S. agent and Quasar basically solving the problem. Yeah, and here's the weird thing though: the tie-in issue uh, takes place between issues 2 and 3, and it's done by Jarmier Jr. And I believe this was the only issue he ever did for Avengers. Well, at this point in time, he wouldn't do it again until many years later. Now moving on to Avengers number 36. Now, 36 to I think about 40, we have this five-parter. Oh yeah, we have a guest appearance in here by Jack of Hearts. Yeah, he officially kind of in a way is a member of the Avengers at this point. If you don't know who Jack of Hearts is, he's a creation of Bill Mantlo. Yes, made his first appearance in Deadliest Hands of Kung Fu, number 19. That was his first appearance, which around the same time they brought out the first appearance of the White Tiger, another character that was created by Bill Mantlo. If you think White Tiger is a white guy in the costume, no, it's a Hispanic guy. Yep, as a matter of fact, all three people who've been White Tiger not only been related to each other, they've also been Hispanic, and it's back to the second White Tiger, and the relation between the second and third one is quite confusing at best because the second one says that she's the niece of the original White Tiger, and the third one, who was White Tiger for a certain period of time until Al Ewing had to get back to her predecessor, who happened to be her own niece, and she's a teenager. Yes, that's what the confusion comes in. Yep. So we have this guy shows up at Avengers Mansion and basically beats the crap out of the Avengers. So it goes to a country that was destroyed by Ultron. Yes, Ultron pretty much destroyed its whole population. And we have this guy here known as Blood Drake. Yes, this guy here, believe it or not, this guy first appeared in the pages of Black Knight of all things. Yes, Blood Drake is his name. And he's here for these few issues. The thing with this guy is really powerful, and the X-Men, the Avengers go to Serena, which basically, like I said, was destroyed by Ultron. The whole population was eviscerated by them. Though, if you read the book, Avengers War Game, I think it was by Warren Ellis. Apparently, the population is back. It's not really clear exactly why. So the Avengers, I don't know why I say the X-Men, they end up fighting basically Bloodstrike and this other guy for the next few issues in this country. There's a big threat, and it's all again the Ebony Blade. That's basically kind of in the way you kind of see this as a Black Knight storyline. Yeah, but you might be thinking, does a Black Knight pop up in here? Shockingly, he doesn't. Well, not that I can think of, no. Oh, I forgot. I thought that 30. I thought it was basically like it was a four-parter, which is a quick two-parter, and then we have apparently where 38 is the start of a new era with Alan Davis as the writer, as the artist. Yeah, we have basically this issue here, just almost like a daily. It's basically a bit of a relaxing issue. Basically, deal with the aftermath of the previous two issues. While trying to figure out what to do next. And then we have 39. This I think this was the few part. This one was. Yeah, this one was basically the Avengers fighting against a bunch of people who turned to Hulks for a few issues. Yeah, it's a weird story arc. Yeah, and it turns out this is all a creation of Diablo, a Fantastic Four villain. Yes, a Fantastic Four villain is responsible for this. Yep, and this is the one that basically spreads out over the course of a few issues. Oh, Bloodshot did. Nope, it was this one. Excuse me. And that wraps up there with a quick three-parter. And then we have the Kang Dynasty. And we have this guy here, the Scarlet Centaurian, who is a relative of Kang's, possibly his son. I don't think anything goes very clear with that. Also, if you notice on the cover, you'll probably notice that there is another number there. Look very closely at it. It says 456. Yeah, this is during a period of time Marvel decided to bring back the new numbering for a certain period of time for certain books. And then after a few years, they dropped this for no reason. And then Marvel brought it back just a few years ago, which this, in my opinion, is not, for some people like myself, it does not confuse people. It acknowledges that, hey, this is the actual numbering. Okay. Then the only book, basically, Marvel has since corrected the numbering on it was Iron Man, because in the case of Iron Man, actually, we're off by a few issues for that one. So, yeah, so basically, like, up until, like, with issue 41, by the way, this triggers issue 44. Yep. And we also have the Avengers deal with a bunch of time traveling. It's basically a Kang story arc. Because, of course, we gotta deal with Kang. But at least I got praise the fact Kurt Busiek actually waited a while. Unlike Mark Waid actually with the very first story arc. Yeah, this is, of course, one of Kang's many times he tried to invade present-day Earth. Yeah, it's an excellent story arc. Mm-hmm. That I think this is the one that pretty much encompasses the rest of this trade. Yeah, this particular four-parter. I believe it's a four-parter because why not? It's Kang. Yeah, we have these alien creatures known as the Presence, who apparently one of the members is a Tuma from the Namor books. Yeah, I don't know why he's here. It's almost like you can kind of say that the Kang story arc is kind of like its own mini event. And then we have Stingray show up. Yes. A character who I believe was from the pages of Namor. Because I believe he was like a honorary member of the Avengers, if I'm not mistaken. They might be asking, has Stingray ever had his own series? No, he never has. He made his first appearance in Tales to Astonish 95 as his real name, Walter Neville. And then he appears as Stingray in Submariner number 19. Roughly about a couple years later. He's a creation of Roy Thomas, of all people. Yes. Yes, he is. And you might be thinking, has he been with Avengers? Yes, he was. He was a reserve member of the Avengers. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and prior to him appearing in this storyline here, last time he appeared was actually at the start of this volume. Back in issue 4 was his last official appearance. That was back in 1998. These issues came out in. Okay. These issues came out in 2001, roughly 3 years later, and also Jack Apart eventually joins the Avengers in this story arc. And I'm trying to think here. Is he related to? Oh yeah, yeah. This Scarlet Centaurian is actually Kang's son. Yeah, that's most of what he is. Stingray's here to help out the Kang stuff. Yep. And that pretty much wraps up in issue number 44. Yep. And then we lead into the last official annual that was released for Avengers for many years. Yep. Yes. You're probably thinking last official Avengers annual for many years. You're probably thinking, what are you talking about, Nick? Well, there's a reason for that. Now, originally, prior to this, there was Avengers Annual published from 1967 to the last Avengers published was published in 1984. That was the last annual they published for about 4 years until like 98 annual. When they had the team up with, of all people, Squadron Supreme. This basically was the last annual they published for many, many years. For approximately 11 years. Yes. The next annual Avengers didn't come out until 2012. Yep. Now, overall, you might be thinking, okay, how many annuals has Avengers ever had? You might ask. Well, the last number was 23. Then you had this one, which was the fourth annual for this one. At this point, this is only the 26th annual ever released for the Avengers. Yep, 26th. And 27 is the annual that Bendis did in 2012. Yeah, one of that done during Hickman's run, which came out a year later. That basically makes about 28. And then you have the newest anime that came out just last year, actually. So that brought up to about, I think it was like 29. Yeah, 29 annuals. Now, as for why in the world they decided to stop publishing these annuals, my only theory is because they weren't popular sellers to Marvel at that point, and Marvel probably wanted to move on to something else. So, after 2001, any book that had an annual published at that point all stopped for several years to give the annuals a rest. That wasn't until Marvel decided to experiment bringing them back in 2006, when they released annuals for Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, and The Ultimates. You might be asking, did Ultimate have a 4 annual? No, it did not. Ultimate Spider-Man surprisingly put out 3 annuals, Ultimate X put out 2, and Ultimate put out 1 more after that one as well. And that apparently brought back Marvel get a whole bunch of annuals. I will, in fact, discuss a whole video discussing that. Yep, the whole thing with this annual, it just focus on Hank Pym after the events of the King story arc. Just trying to restore him throughout this whole entire thing. You have Hank Pym going through his past lives. I gotta say, this was an excellent annual that Kurt Busiek did. And there's a ton of artists on this one annual alone. Yeah, there is a ton of them. Like, you might be asking, like, okay, how many artists are on this one annual alone? You have Ivan Reyes, who does The Third Man. You have House Cleaning done by Ian Churchill. Yes, Ian Churchill. And it's shocking, though, the fact that Kurt Busiek did all 4 annuals. Yeah, he did. Well, actually, he didn't do, let's see, he did 98 annual. He did 99. You might ask, did he do 2000? Yes, he did. He did do 2000. Yeah, he did all 4 annuals, which is shocking to say the least, the fact he actually did all 4 annuals. He was writing the book, I guess, figured, oh, why not do the annuals themselves? And it's just a really good annual, and just good and happy ending for the book. And then you have stuff related to The Crossing. Yeah, basically the sources here are just from Iron Man Wasps from Avengers 393, 95. Basically the Crossing story arc of Cap Shield from Captain America 303 in Avengers 66. And Falcon is from Captain America 181 and Falcon number 2. Yep. And that's your story arc for Avengers. I'm going to give this trade a 9.5 out of 10. It's a damn good trade. And the next review, I'm discussing the last trade to ever collect issues from Kurt Busiek's run, Avengers Assemble Volume 5, plus a Captain America trade. But it's going to have to wait because I have to do some stuff. So later on today, I'll discuss that, along with a few other comic corners, along with interviews for news episodes of Shaman King, yes, Shaman King, How Realistic Wrote the Kingdom, and the Case Study of Thanatos. Okay? Next video. Bye.